So I've got the anvil here, and as you can see, it teeters and it totters based off of the bottom is not flat. So I brought it over to Jeremy's to see if he can help me get it flattened on the bottom and flatten it out on his mill. So let him kind of go through and explain the setup on how we're going to do it. Once I get done with this, I'm going to blue the whole thing with a cold blue, and I'll go through that process as well. But I'm gonna leave the top alone and just get the bottom flat. So let's get all set up.
All right. I think what we'll probably try to do is just put this at the base of the vise. We'll tighten it up. We'll see how parallel this is for holding. If it's not so much, we'll put a piece of copper or aluminum in there and clamp onto that, which will help take up some of this uneven surface. But we just put a power knee.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Done. We're going to use a shell mill, little shell mill we got at a sale. And I put a pocket in there for the R8 collet. So basically you push this up against the spindle face and you tighten it up, gives it a little bit more stiffness. And then you can extend this out a little bit more so you can get into areas. So, you got it?
Yep. So
I would touch it, always zero, clamp, and then set this to 0. And then since you have these carbide teeth, they're easy to chip. So we're going to back this down a few mils, come off the part. Did you leave that one?
Yeah.
Go ahead and leave that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll go for, we're good. That's good. Yeah, just for where we're going to hit. So we're going to go, we'll try 25. We should slather this with the BB.
What kind of speed?
I would just do a kind of a slow power feed. It's at like 850 RPM right now. Give that a shot. I don't know how hard this material is.
Like glass.
Is it hard?
I don't know.
No. Just come into it by hand. apply.
Yeah.
Obviously, this mill table is super flat,
So
super chewed.
it's the common.
Well, it's the mighty common.
Yep.
Nothing. I mean, nothing. No. Okay. Good for the-
Excellent.
We'll have to dress those edges because I'm sure there's some sharp burrs on there.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, sir.
I like that.
Yeah. It's the Columbia.
So what are you going to do on the drill press that you got?
I am going to. Oh, by the way, we got a special guest here.
Here we are.
Here we are. So I'm going to tear it completely down, and then the column that goes up from the base up to the head, it's pretty rusted up, so I'm going to disassemble that, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to put it in a lathe and hold it as I sand it down, because
Okay.
I want to make sure it's still round. It's key to having everything slide up and down.
Yeah. Clean it up.
Yep.
Do you know how big in diameter it is?
I don't, but it's like probably between 3 and 4 inches.
Well, do you want to look at the lathe and see?
Let's check it out.
This is this is my Cincinnati 1842, which is 18-inch swing, 42-inch between centers. So that takes into consideration a chuck and then a live center at the tailstock at the very limits. Tailstock, which is the other end. But anyway, so your column is probably close to, I don't know, maybe we can maybe do this one.
Yeah. It's pretty tall.
Yeah.
It's taller than that
It's
one.
taller than this one.
Yeah.
And this one's probably, 58 inches. So you got at least 60 inches. So
Yep.
I mean, we could honestly, you take this tailstock off, you put a steady rest up, clamp it in. It'll stick out over here, by the toolbox, and then you can. All you really are trying to do is maybe do some indicating and then sanding with some emery, right? Just to clean it up.
Is the steady rest in the service truck the one you use on here?
No, it's over here. The one in the service truck is from the old lathe. It was just something I tried to modify to get working. But I guess while we're here, we grab the new mod. So I got to, when you're holding long parts in the lathe, on the tailstock or on the back side of the head, the gearbox. Some guys make a spider, which will help hold the stock that's sticking out of the back, so it doesn't whip. Once you're turning long, skinny shafts out of the back, they have a tendency to whip. So I figured, let me put an ER40 collet block on a piece of aluminum and put that on the back. And so basically, I took this is an ER40 collet block. It's magnetic. Anyway, ER40 collet block with an R8 shank off of it, which we turned off. It's down here, the doobly-doo. So didn't really have any need for this to put a big ER40 in the Bridgeport. It's really just too big for it. So anyway, turn that off, bored it through, put a little step in there, pressed it, put some set screws, and then this basically mounts right to the back. And then we just tighten up the set screws. So you know about collets?
A little bit, but you can go over it.
Well, I don't know this stuff. This is just from watching YouTube.
So what you did was you got the support on the back,
Yeah.
and then the support on the front here, and that's
Yeah.
just for holding a round piece steady
Yeah.
within that gearbox region.
Yep. And I put the ER 6-position collet block in the chuck so that I can use a collet on fragile shafts. Like this is a very fragile threaded rod. We don't want to ding it, ding the thread. So we're going to put that in a collet, keep it from getting messed up. So Joe Piezinski did a video a little while ago. He made like these wood models of everything to kind of blow it all up. But the gist of it is these tapered collets, like you'd have for this an R8 collet. So this is only good for a certain range of material diameter compared to the hole size in this. These are plus or minus like 12, 15 mils. And so the problem is if you run too small of a tool in this collet and you clamp down on it, it actually clamps at the nose. It bends and clamps at the nose and the back is not supported. Or if you try to cram one in there and spread it out and then close it up, it actually only holds at the back. So it doesn't support your work very well if you're off size. Same thing with the 5C collet. These are just tapered, they just crush at the top. The ER collets, their cut is a staggered cut. So this cut goes to the front, this cut goes to the back, and vice versa. And so when this one closes up, it closes up evenly. No matter, you know, I mean, obviously it has a certain range of size, but and I'm not sure what it is, maybe it's 15, 20 mils plus or minus. So what it lets you do is get a full clamping load on the part because it's clamping, the wedge is on the front and it's on the back. So it's actually clamping the thing together. It's pretty cool. So that's why I picked like ER for
What range do you have?
up to inch.
Up to an inch.
ER 40 goes up to 1 inch.
Yeah.
And down to, you can get smaller ones, I'm sure, but this is a 16th inch. Just a standard little set. And yeah.
So if you go larger than an inch, is a different base?
I guess, I don't, honestly, like in ER 40, yes, this gets too thin.
Yep.
I don't know of any other, of a larger, you go into tool holders and these, you know, shrink fits and all that for bigger stuff. But I think in the ER world, I think ER 40 is as big as it gets. So, but we can try the shaft if you want.
Sure.
I think it's 3/8. So this is pretty straightforward. Collet nut has an offset. There's an offset in the engagement, so holds on the nut. Shove that in. This is where we're going to be doing our work. Won't quite clamp it yet. And then we have our collet for this side. It's actually not sticking out too bad. It wouldn't get to whipping, but if you have something all the way out to where you got to drill a hole in your wall, which you will. Some call it a certain kind of thing, but and there you go. We're not going to clamp this down tight. I don't think you want to like constrain things too bad. I'm not really sure why. Maybe things can heat and cool off or whatever. But anyway, it just seems like you should like have this side fixed. This side's being held pretty well, and then you have the freedom. You're not going to worry about this thing jumping around. So anyway,
So you just loosen it up, pull it back through, and keep bringing it up, not cutting it down size.
yeah. In this case, we have to turn this to a 1/4 inch diameter. This is pretty simple. Up to this tape line. I'll take a measurement and get what that is. And then we have to put a couple of small snap ring grooves in this, 41 thousandths wide snap ring grooves, 2 of them. So we have the, like a dummy shaft, it's around here somewhere. you know, that has those dimensions on it. So anyway, just another little side project.
Very cool. So I'll get dimensions of the column on the drill press, and then we'll be able to check it out and see whether we can actually do it on this lathe, or we'll have to come up with some other idea.
Cool.
Cool.